And now, the Android Basics segment. This is a segment where we discuss the things that power your device from behind the scenes. And now, here's this week's episode, Android Basics. Let's now move on to our Android Basics segment. And today we're concluding a session that we started maybe a little over a month ago. And I'm talking about the general management in the One UI. John will now bring us that preamble of this part 3, which we conclude the One UI settings for the general management. John?
Hi, and welcome back to our series on Samsung's One UI. We are still working our way through the settings, and today we are going to finish up the general management area of Samsung settings. In the last installment, we finished up with the mouse settings, and moving on, next we have
spelling correction, Gboard spell checker.
This is where you choose your default spell checker.
Spelling correction, navigate up, button.
At the top, we have the switch to turn it on and off.
On, spelling correction, switch.
And then we have
Language, use system languages.
You choose the language.
Default spell checker, Gboard spell checker.
And you can choose which spell checker to use.
Spell checker, Samsung keyboard. Checked, Gboard spell checker. Cancel, button.
So my two options I have are Samsung and Google. So I have Google selected so that the TalkBack Braille keyboard and just the TalkBack spell check in general will work. If you have Samsung's selected, I don't think these will work. Backing out.
Spelling correction, default spell checker. General management, spelling correction, Gboard spell checker.
Next we have
Passwords, passkeys, and autofill.
going in here.
Passwords, passkeys, and autofill. Navigate up, button. Choose your preferred service and manage all services for passwords, passkeys, and autofill. Passkeys are encrypted digital keys that let you sign into apps and websites using biometrics or your screen lock. Autofill adds info like addresses, passwords, and credit card numbers into form fields automatically. Preferred service, Google.
Here's where you choose your service.
All services. Heading.
And below this is a list of all the services you have available to you, depending on what apps you have installed and whether or not you want to turn them on or off. So for example,
Google.
if I were to go to Google, it would take me to a page where I could manage my passwords. Backing out.
General management. Passwords, passkeys, and autofill.
Next we have
Personal dictionary.
I'll go in here,
Personal dictionary. Navigate up, button.
but I do not have any.
No words in your dictionary. Add a word by tapping the Add Plus button.
So as you heard, if you tap the add button, you can add words to your dictionary. And what this will do is, if you have autocorrect enabled, it will stop correcting words that you add to your dictionary. And you can also set up shortcuts, meaning if you type a certain word, you want it to display a different word. So for example, your email address. If you just want your email address to appear when you typed EML, for example, you would add the email address to your dictionary, and then you would make the shortcut EML. And as soon as you put a space after EML, it would autocorrect it to your full email address. Backing out of here.
General management. Personal dictionary.
Next we have
Reset.
And this is what it sounds like.
Reset. Navigate up, button. Before resetting your phone, back up your data to Samsung Cloud or an external storage device. You can restore your data after resetting.
And then it gives us some backup options.
Back up your data. Heading. Temporary cloud backup. Back up unlimited data to Samsung Cloud for up to 30 days or restore data you've backed up. External storage backup. Backup data to a USB storage device or SD card. Restore later on this device or another device using Smart Switch. Reset. Heading.
And then we have all of our reset options, because there's more than just a full factory reset. Here are the options.
Reset all settings. Reset mobile network settings. Reset Wi-Fi and Bluetooth settings. Reset accessibility settings. Factory data reset. Reset your phone to its factory default settings. This will erase all data, including files and downloaded apps.
So as you can see, you have different options. So if you, for example, are having issues with Bluetooth, you should definitely just try resetting the network and Bluetooth settings first before you try resetting your whole phone. Backing out of here.
General management. Reset. Customization service.
So we've mentioned customization service in the past. This is basically if you want certain apps to recommend things to you based on how you use them, location history, search history, and so on. So here's where you would go to enable or disable this and choose which apps have access to this type of information. Next,
Contact us.
going here, we'll just open the Samsung Members app where you can report bugs and that type of thing. And then the last thing we have in this section is under this heading,
Work profile keyboards and tools. Heading.
and it is
Virtual keyboard for work.
all this is exactly the same as the virtual keyboard section I showed you earlier where you can set the default keyboard. But this is the one that applies when you are using your work profile if you have that enabled. And that is everything we have in the general management portion of Samsung's One UI settings. I will now send it back to the crew to discuss these last few settings in this area.
Thanks so much, John. That's the last installment for the general management, and that's the last part. That's part 3. There's some things here that I really like, and I think for me, John, Karen, and Sally, you guys use the Samsung phones all the time, and it's something that it's not only for Samsung, but I think also for Pixel as well. That dictionary management, it's a great tool. I know a lot of the time people don't know about that, but I think it's a gem there that's a hidden gem that most oftentimes we're not aware of. And it just kind of reiterates for me the need that I need to use this more often than what I do, because sometimes I'm trying to send an email to myself, and I'm typing out the email address and all of that, and then of course I'm trying to see if it make any suggestions, so I could just tap on it. But John, as you said, for example, I could just put in like maybe email, then fill in my email address, and next time I want to send an email to myself, I'll just use that abbreviation and it just completes it for me. It's a great tool, and maybe Sally could be using it for yours faithfully, the handsome guy, and just put in a little abbreviation or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you see, it's a great tool that is kind of underused. I don't know. You guys use it. I
I'm
haven't.
glad you brought it up, Warren, because I wanted to ask. Because after recording this demo, I tried it and it did not work for me. I know it has worked in the past, but I could not get it to work. So I'm wondering if any of you have used it recently and if it still works for you.
Well, not recently, but it was working for me. Interesting enough. I didn't try it recently.
Yeah, I would have wondered as to what would have caused it to not work, though. But when new updates come up and things like that, sometimes some things get changed and a lot of things get broken. And this may be one of those things that got broken along the way.
Yeah, hopefully it starts working again. I mean, I'll admit we've been behind. We've recorded a lot of this stuff ahead of time, so I haven't tried it within the past month probably, but as of a month ago, it was not working for me, but I hope it starts working again, even though I obviously wasn't using it because I didn't I didn't even realize that it stopped working, but it is a good feature to have, and I would now that I've reminded myself about it, I would like to start using it again.
Yeah. Karen, have you ever used this feature, this dictionary entry?
No, I know about it, and I just watched the demo that you did on BAU maybe 2 years or maybe more than that. But I have never used it. But it's a good addition, unless it will still not work. I mean, we should just try it and see, because if it's not working, then it's another issue in the issues that are coming in those days, like the Google messages and other stuff. So I think we are just being used to things that are like not working those days.
You know, it's interesting you mentioned Google messages, because it's something the update has messed up. And I'm kind of wondering, if this is just something happening with the 6.x, or if it's also happening for those that have One UI 5.x. It will be interesting to know. I know all of us that use the One UI, all of us is 6.x, right, Sally? That's what you have. Oh, yeah, definitely all of us have
Yeah,
6.x.
6.1.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I don't know if it would have behaved any differently if someone were using 5.x. It's just, you never can tell. Updates are great, and sometimes, yet in the same breath, they break up something that was working perfectly before. Like you mentioned, Karine, Android messages, Google messages, it's just totally messed up. I don't know. It's most especially if you're doing voice dictation. For me, when I go into a message thread, for example, it will start to read like the last few messages, or if it doesn't, as sure as the sun comes up in the morning, if I tap the edit field and it becomes active, then it starts reading like maybe the last 5 or so messages, and it'll just keep looping through them unless I say quit doing that. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's a very annoying bug. Luckily, I think it's only in the beta, so the messages beta app. So hopefully they get it ironed out before they release it to everyone.
Yeah, so that's part of being, a beta user. Now and then you find nasty bugs that just drives you up the Kilimanjaro. And
Yeah, and this is one of those that's like, they need to fix this. If they release it like this, it's going to be a mess, and a lot of people are going to be upset.
yeah, and so if you're, a screen reader user, I don't know if it does that with the confused screen reader. I'm talking about a commentary. Maybe Karen will cut off my head. Does it behave like that too when you're using CSR? Does anyone know, Sally?
Well, we have our own problems with issue regarding messages, and though the main problem is not new. Actually, it is that the focus is messed up completely. So if you just swipe between messages, they will be in reverse order. This is the first problem. The second problem is when you are on the edit box and you try to swipe to read the last message, you will be thrown on a random message. Nobody knows which message will be.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, it happens when you're in a busy chat. It happens like I'm seeing that message and telling someone, "Did you really say that right now? And what's to do with it right now?" And they say, "No, it was days ago. Come on."
yeah, indeed. And to be fair, the guy tried to fix that, but he wasn't able to, and he just released a version. It was more messed up than how it was, so he returned everything to how it was before.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of wondering, though, could it be maybe something that Google messed up?
Yeah, I think so.
It is. It's the messages interface.
Yeah, the
Ever since they
messages is
added
so
this
messed up.
like smart compose and other like AI
Yeah.
stuff to it and like redesigned the UI, it's had all kinds of issues. Like,
Yeah,
remember
what
the
it,
edit box for a long time wasn't even an edit box. It was just a button. And then it would
yeah.
open an edit box, and then it would be an unlabeled button there. It's like, it's been it's been through a lot recently.
Well, since it's an app to send message like an SMS, that should be as simple as possible. But what Google is trying to do
know.
here?
Yeah, well, I think the whole idea is trying to simplify our lives and make things easier for us. I mean, that's the whole
Yeah,
that's the whole point
Simpler
here.
for us or simpler for people who don't use the screen reader?
exactly.
Yeah, well, but no one goes to bed thinking of us. Now I'm talking about
Yeah.
those of us who are blind.
Think
Never
about
forget
your,
that.
talk about yourself. Maybe somebody's thinking about me, huh?
Of course, there are always some nice people that think about us. Those quizzes always think about us. So
Yeah.
it happens. Yeah, but seriously, this is such a mess. And so for me, the workaround is always to try to mute my screen reader, or instead, I just reply from the notification area, and that doesn't affect it.
Like looking at the bigger picture, I'm sometimes getting worried. We cannot use messages. We cannot use WhatsApp at all. I mean, what's going on here?
No,
Yeah.
what's the problem with WhatsApp? I mean, WhatsApp is just much better than what Google is doing with its apps. I mean,
Well,
the issues that we are facing with Google apps are different than anything else.
yeah. Just totally like looking at the picture here.
Yeah, WhatsApp's been kind of a little bit. I mean, I've been using WhatsApp a little bit now with a virtual WhatsApp number, and there are things I don't like about it. It's not like
Yeah.
what it used to be earlier on when I was on there before I quit.
Yeah, it always gives me headache when I'm using it, and I have no other choice.
Yeah, if you are using groups, yeah, it is. But if you're using personal chats, which is usually, well, for me, it's the norm to use WhatsApp for
Maybe-
private chats, not for
Well,
groups.
maybe you don't private chat at all, right? So
What? Maybe you what?
Maybe you're not chatting a lot. That's
No,
the
what's the problem? Well, tell me what's the problem.
I'm always on a group chats, and I'm seeing the issues that also you say you don't face it, and you're only using the private chat. I say you don't private chat at all.
My
Yeah.
God.
Well,
you are confused.
hang on, Karen.
Yeah.
Have you ever sent a private message to Sally?
Yeah, I think.
Well, then if you haven't, then you're not. You can't
No,
tell
you,
us
you,
what
di-
he's
you
saying.
didn't send me anything on WhatsApp.
Oh my God.
That's the crux of the matter. You haven't private messaged him, so you can't tell as to what's going on. That's what Sally is trying to let you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah, indeed.
when we're done, you can try and you will see what he means. It's not working.
Already sent.
Okay.
A beautiful picture. Yeah, but so I just hope we get these things fixed, and then that Samsung dictionary, for some reason, if it's not working, I'm not surprised. So many things are not working these days.
Yeah.
So there's another one that John mentioned, and of course, we've mentioned this elsewhere, and it has to do with passwords management and passkeys. These things are very important. If you haven't set up yours, it's nice to do that. I find it simplifying my workflow, most especially after I do a reset and I'm trying to go back into, an app that I've used before, and of course, it just autofills for me what I have. And I tell you, I can't tell you how excited or how happy I am with autofill and all of that. So if you haven't been using it, try to use it, and maybe it will simplify things for you, make things easier than trying to type things out.